everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sports Wrap. My name is Scott Morgan, our Motor City Madmouth. Got a great crew today. We have a special guest as well. His name is Paul Perry, the Argentine Gringo. And he's actually based out of Philadelphia, but he's living in Argentina permanently. Welcome to the show, Paul.
It's great to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, you're very welcome. There. And we have Ed McAndrew, who's obviously been a workhorse this week. Good to have Eddie back on.
Seems like I never leave, Scott. Seems like I never leave.
Hope you never do either. All right, we have Mike Santos is back. Mike, how's everything been going? Missed you last week, but, we're glad you're back this week.
Everything was going well till earlier this week. And
until what?
CR7 exited the World Cup forever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And we got Dave Bradley, who's also
Come on, England. Come on, England.
You're playing right in my backyard, too. I'm not going to let that big brute from Norway.
That's right.
Oh, we got MDE in the house, and we have Dave on, and then Candy's going to have the second half of our double fire up. I'd have her on as well. All right, well, let's get going. We have a lot of ground to cover. We're going to talk about the tail of the tape. Obviously, these numbers are fluid. Between Ronaldo, Messi, and Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi, the international career comparison. Bear in mind these numbers are fluid. For Ronaldo, he's had 228 appearances for Portugal and 199 for Lionel. Goals 143 and 117 in favor of Ronaldo. Assists, actually Messi leads in that department, 61-37. Major trophies. Messi is 4-3. Player of Tournament Awards 5-0 over Ronaldo. Then the FIFA World Cup appearances is pretty close between the two. 26 appearances for Messi versus 22 for Ronaldo. Goals 13-8. Of course, this is what we had a couple of weeks ago. Again, these numbers are fluid. The assists are 8-2 in favor of Messi. The knockout goal contributions 11-0. Golden Ball Awards 2-0, and World Cup titles 1-0. Okay, Gringo, what are your thoughts about comparing and contrasting these two legends? Gringo, can you hear me?
Paul. Looks like you froze.
It's like you froze.
You gotta keep in mind that you gotta keep in mind that Ronaldo's a little older. I think he's like four or 5 years old.
Okay.
Everybody froze on my end.
He's a little bit older. What else? I love our Thursday nights. Aren't they very interesting?
No, it's going to be a fun, as these guys get older, CR7 is no longer going to be playing. Messi will eventually be out, but I was doing some looking up. It's going to be like the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning comparison, or Federer and Nadal, or Gretzky and Lemieux, and it's going to be some fun conversation. Who's the best? And I think the one thing that the Messi fans will say to the Ronaldo fans in their argument is the whole fact that CR7 never won a cup. And I think that, I still like Ronaldo more than Messi, just for what he does and just the way he carries himself and everything like that.
Right.
But, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see how far Messi goes, see if he gets a second cup. Bottom line is, though, they're both fantastic players, period, and we'll see what the next generation brings.
Okay, Mike?
I mean, Ed said it. They're both terrific in their own way. I think it's so difficult to draw comparisons today because there's so many leagues that have come into existence in the last, some of them in the last 10 years, but many of them in the last, 30 years or so. And it's hard to judge statistics in one league versus another league. And I don't like pinning World Cup statistics or World Cup as a primary way of determining on who's better, because every sport has a world championship, or in hockey now, you've got the Olympics every 4 years, or you have the whatever that used to be, the Canada Cup, and whatever they called it last 2 years ago. Did Wayne Gretzky score a lot of goals in the Olympics? No. Does that not mean he's the greatest? Probably not one of the top, if not the greatest hockey player of all time. No. I think international competition. I mean, Dave can speak to this better than anyone, but it's so different. I mean, I as a sort of I'll still call myself a new fan to the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Love the excitement of the World Cup, but if I'm truly looking at the skill and the teamwork in a match, I'd much rather watch a Premier League game or even La Liga. I think those teams that practice as a team and all that type of stuff are better and better to watch. So I just think it's difficult to, as Ed said, they're both great players. I think it's just difficult to, especially to pick international competition or World Cup competition and say one guy is better than the other just because of that.
Okay, we got Paul back. You want to continue what you were talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just I agree with what Dave said about the age difference. Ronaldo is a little older than Messi, and apart from that, they're both great players. There's undoubtedly, Ronaldo must feel some kind of pressure every time he takes a pitch for not having won a World Cup, which is the ultimate goal for most soccer players. I mean, especially when you represent your country. So that's what you want to do, is you want to win internationally. For that's the glory when you wear your national, like your jersey. Any real pure football soccer fan, only they can understand what it is when a player takes the pitch, takes the field. It's a cultural thing.
I'm interested to hear, especially what Dave thinks and Ed, but Argentina's got such a great history of soccer. Even before Messi, Portugal doesn't really have that history without Ronaldo. I mean, he really is the only reason why they've been in the conversation for the last 20 years is because of Ronaldo. Now, did they ever get to the top? No. Was this probably the best team of talent they had? Sure. But I mean, you can go back decades and look at great Argentinian teams. So I think Ronaldo wore that pressure as well. He is Portuguese soccer until things develop in the future. What do you think?
All right, Dave.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts on this one. We've covered a lot of area here, a lot of decades, a lot of competitions, a lot of different ages, a lot of different situations, a lot of different dynamics. If I didn't say that before, if I repeated myself, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I think the only time and the fair time to look back at all this when both Messi and Ronaldo have retired completely from the game, because they're two different people. They play in two different ways. They've all played in different teams, in different countries, in different environments. It's just so hard to try and compare apples with apples. But for the sake of interest in Messi and Ronaldo, and for the sake of a I think right now, topically as we speak, Ronaldo's gone home. Messi hasn't. Messi scoring goals. He's holding Argentina together because without him, they're winning nothing this tournament. But having said that, all the players on the Argentina team they've obviously all got together and said, we are going to sacrifice ourselves and do all the work for Lionel Messi because that's what we're going to do because he can win us the World Cup. Portugal, on the other hand, they've got bigger players in their team and more skillful players and maybe players with more ego. I don't know. But they didn't all say, hey, let's all do Cristiano Ronaldo's running for him. And they've gone, well, no, I'm a top player at a top club and at the top of my game. And so I think that's what held Portugal back, to be honest with you. And if the players around Messi in the Argentinian team hadn't have done what they've done and will continue to do, I don't know how far it's going to take them. They've twice now nearly dipped out of the competition. So I don't think either Portugal, they're already gone now, so they're not in the conversation at the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
If England beat Norway, and it's all if buts and maybes, I know, but if England beat Norway and Argentina get through their game, England and Argentina play in a semi-final in Miami, and who would win that? First of all, we don't know because of the parity in soccer. But I don't see anything to fear as being somebody from England and an England supporter, having played the game in England and played for England at a lower level myself in my younger years. If I was, I look at everything as a player. I still do because I was a player. And you always subjectively look at everything from a player's perspective. And I don't see anything in the Argentinian team right now that would stop England beating them in the semi-final. Is that going to happen? We don't know. That's the beauty of the game.
Yeah. What do you think too? I know we're going off topic, Scott, but I think this is actually more fun.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Mike?
I'm going off topic, but I actually think this is fun. And I just love when I have like an expert like Dave to talk about these things. But the things you say about Portugal, I think, are really true. And I think they built their team and their strategy wrong. And I mean, again, when I looked at the way they played the games in this tournament, first of all, they had 4 defenders and they essentially had 5 midfielders. And then they just left Ronaldo at the top. Now, I know some of those midfielders jumped up and everything, but still, it was, to me, if you follow hockey at all, it was like they were playing the neutral zone trap, right? Like they were more concerned with controlling the ball, on both sides of the half, in the midfield, than and making these lateral passes than they were putting the ball on goal. And I don't know what you thought of their game plan, Dave, and the way they built.
Okay, yeah. So technically speaking, for the sake of time, for what we're doing here, is Argentina they had their game plan set up when their players got the ball that are playmakers, because Messi wasn't doing any work in his own half or running around trying to chase and get the ball, maybe like he did back in the when he was younger. He's walking around in little pockets where nobody can pick him up, and if someone comes along, he was just walking around. When the Argentinian guys got the ball, they were looking up to find out where he was and was he making a move. They were never gonna play the ball in space for Messi. Why? You don't play the ball in space for a Messi to run onto, because he's not gonna run onto it. So you had to wait to find him being available so the ball came to his feet. At the same time, they had other players around him moving, and you don't see this in the camera on TV. One guy makes a move and he takes a defender away, and it leaves Messi in a pocket of space. That's when they give him the ball, and then he does the damage. The problem with Portugal, as Mike was talking about, they got the tactics wrong.
Mhm.
They have creative players in midfield. They got the ball. They looked up, and nobody was available. And Ronaldo wasn't running into space anymore, and nobody else was, and nobody else was up there with him, around him. So therefore, there was nobody in the Portugal team that could pass the ball to anybody. Therefore, there's the difference. Portugal's gone home, and Argentina have not.
Yeah.
Okay, Candy.
What I would say is,
What
uh,
what I've noticed. Yeah,
go ahead, Paul.
go ahead, Ken.
What I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
say.
No, I'm sorry. What I was going to say is that I've noticed that the strategy the Argentines used to attack now is much similar to the Chicago Bulls and the triangle offense. You'll see that they always move in a triangle, and
Right.
the control. They constantly control the ball. I watch every game closely, and the way they dominate ball control, and they're just they practice that. They just got that triangle offense is throwing other teams off, and then they go back and they start over, and they cause that they make the other team move in the direction that they want them to move. It's really I saw a couple YouTube videos of it's just amazing how, and they play so closely as a team. They've been playing so long. They've won two of these cups. What are they? Copa Americas, two straight back-to-back Copa Americas, and they won the. So this is a team that knows how to play together.
Yeah, Paul,
And they understand each other, and it's a young team. I mean, it's a team that's the younger players. They're still hungry, and that's what it takes to win a tournament like this is hunger.
You can't talk about the Copa America in any kind of serious
Everybody
conversation.
froze.
This is the World Cup. The Copa America is a team of middle Southern American. There's no competition. The competition is weak. This is different. This is different. This is a World Cup.
One of the things I've noticed in our few weeks of covering this World Cup is seeing how much money these soccer players have. Candy, go ahead and give me your thoughts. I want to go over a couple of interesting topics I really think are just mind-boggling. And I just come amazed at how much these guys are making. I'm looking at all the NBA, NHL, and these soccer players are blowing them away 9 million times over. Go ahead, Candy.
The only thing I was going to say is I've actually seen Messi play in person. I have not seen Ronaldo play in person. Obviously, watched a little bit on TV. It's hard for me to say which one is better. But what I would say is how lucky are we that we get to see these two great players kind of push each other, and compete. So I think we're just fortunate to have both of them that we get to watch.
All right, so let's continue on. I have a lot of topics I want to get to, but obviously when you compare and contrast these guys, you can have an entire show based on it. And what I got here is what I expected when I brought this and titled it the same way. So the most expensive things owned by Lionel Messi include, well, Fort Lauderdale Waterford mansion at $10 million. I don't know what you got down there, Paul, but that's chump change. Let's continue on. His loud neighbor's house at $3 million. A Hotel Mim Sitges at $34 million. A Ferrari 335 Spiders Scaglietti, almost looks like spaghetti with me with my bad eyes, at $36 million. Unbelievable. A Hotel Mim Ibiza, $32 million. Embraer Legacy 650 at $26 million. Can we count that high, Paul? I don't think that. I know you probably live in a palace of your own, but nothing like what this guy's
It's a
showing.
soccer team he bought in Spain.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. These are my notes. Okay. Hotel Mim Mallorca,
Yeah, well,
Spain.
he can't live here with that kind of money.
Exactly. Well, you just mentioned Spain. The hotel's got one for $20 million. A Mayora 7C luxury yacht, $12 million. A Cipriani's residence condo, $7.5 million. Regalia Tower condo, Miami, $7.3 million. Oh, now we're in South Florida. Gulfstream 5, $45 million for an airplane. And Castel Action, and this is just unbelievable stuff. You can't make this stuff up. It's $8 million. A Pagani Zonda tricolor, 4 million. Can't even pronounce them either. And a happy, priceless family. And there you go. All right, Paul. I know I said a mouthful. What stands out to you of all of this insanity? Anything stand out of all those material items? Paul?
Looks like he's frozen again.
Paul, you with me?
Those are some crazy numbers.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Yeah. I couldn't hear that last question. There's some crazy numbers, though. Crazy numbers, and you couldn't live here with that kind of money. He can probably buy Argentina.
Yeah, yeah, he probably.
That's true. Yeah, that just blows me away. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Eddie.
Two things. One, to your point, it shows how much football on the international stages, because your opening comment about this, comparing to what the highest priced basketball players, it's pocket change to these two, to Ronaldo and some of these other guys. But I think the story that has to be told is everybody says, "Oh wow, I want that, I want that," but to know the backstory of Messi and Ronaldo on where they came from and what they dealt with to get to where they are today, it didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't necessarily a fun journey. It wasn't, I saw a clip where Ronaldo takes his son back to where he actually lived, and he had to convince his son it was actually his place, because he came from a poor family. I mean, and I think that's the story. It's great that they have all of this. It shows that they've worked hard. But I think the story that really needs to be hammered home, especially to the younger generation, is you put in the work. There's a chance that it might pay off to something like this. If you don't work, there is zero chance.
Okay, Mike.
That's what I said.
I mean, that's great that he's got all these wonderful toys, and more money than he needs, more money than anybody needs. But I'd like to know what he's doing with all of this to help other people.
Yeah, right. There you go.
That would be more interesting to me. And I'm not saying that he's not. I just would be interested to know, like, what's he doing. And a lot of times these guys are very quiet with who they help and the things that they're involved with, the charities they're involved with. But to me, when you get that type of wealth, that's more important. I mean, he's far beyond taking care of his family for life and all that type of stuff. Like, he's at a level now where his money could do a lot of good for a lot of people, and that's what I hope he's.
Dave.
During COVID, he sent down I think like 1,000 respirators during the COVID pandemic. Unfortunately, the corrupt government took them all, and they never got distributed. I don't know what happened to him. It's a mystery. But he helps out. He helps out. I know he bought a soccer team in Spain, and so that's a way to give kids a future through sports. I know he's active with charities and stuff, but he's got ridiculous amounts of money, and most of those football players do. But I don't see him living here in Argentina with that kind of money. I don't see him driving a Ferrari. This is not the kind of country you can drive a Ferrari in, or anything like that. No, you probably buy yourself like a Toyota, but you're not driving around in a Ferrari and a McLaren or anything like that. Not yet, anyway. Perhaps in 20 years.
Dave.
Well, we only know what we know, but I think reading between the lines, I think what we all can assume is that both of these guys are doing a lot with their money to help a lot of kids, a lot of people, a lot of situations. They just don't talk about it. And why should they? Should they talk about it so we can sit here and go, oh, well, they're doing this and they're helping these people? They're already doing that. They don't need us to know that we're doing that. They have nothing to prove. All they got to do is to be able to do, as we all know, it's the same with every single one of these. You wake up in the morning, can you look in the mirror and look yourself in the eye and go, I'm being my best today. I'm doing my best. And just because they're giving X amount of millions somewhere over here, somebody on the other side over here might not have that, might not have a whole lot. One person's giving 1 million over here. Another person over here just gave somebody $25 or paid for somebody's Big Mac at McDonald's in the drive-through while you were going through, and you said to the person on the till of McDonald's, pay for these people's milkshake and burger and fries behind me. There's the money, keep the change, whatever it is, and you drive away. Just because one's giving somebody 1 million or 10 million, and we're giving somebody a free McDonald's meal behind us, that there's no difference in the thought process of the giving there. So yeah, it's unbelievable they've got all this stuff, but I'll guarantee you they've done stuff that none of us know about. I'm absolutely sure about that. 99.9% sure.
Hey, Candy.
I was reading some about the Leo Messi Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to performing acts of solidarity and social commitment. It was created in 2007. It was born with the idea that children should all have the same opportunities to realize their dreams. Its mission is to help children and teenagers in high-risk situations in collaboration with other institutions that carry out projects in line with the fundamental beliefs of the foundation. It's based on health, education, and sport. So that's probably just one of many things that we don't hear about. But yeah, I agree with you. You know.
Okay, well, let's continue on with the Messi theme because there's a lot more to tackle with this whole thing. As Nike denied Messi a few tracksuits and lost a player, get this, who changed football forever. Let's go over the particulars on this one because back in 2003, a 16-year-old Messi signed his first brand deal. Nike grabbed him early for barely $10,000 a year Europe money. They saw talent, but they didn't see what he was about to become. Man moved by Nike. 2005, he's becoming the future of football. Under 20 World Cup MVP, Barcelona wonder kid. Nike still didn't upgrade his contract. As Gomer Pyle would say, shame, shame, shame. This is a Gomer Pyle reference. Okay, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people remember Gomer Pyle, or some of us do. Just a commitment letter, not even a real deal. Okay, Messi's father made one tiny request: a few extra track suits for the family. Nike ignored it. Bill Knight, what were you thinking if you were owning the company? I don't know. That small snub became the turning point. Meanwhile, Adidas smelled opportunity. They offered Messi Europe money, $750,000 per year, 75 times more than Nike. Better pay, better treatment, better respect. No Rodney Dangerfield included in this deal. Okay. Insulted. How do you like those one-liners coming? I haven't even had that much caffeine today. Insulted. Messi switched to Adidas. Nike panicked and sued. The court upheld the commitment letter. Wasn't binding. Messi was free. Okay. Adidas immediately locked him in long term. Today, the deal is worth nearly $1 billion. Maybe that attributed to some of these things I just read off. Because Messi became the face of Adidas football worldwide. His impact is insane. When Messi joined Inter Miami 2023, Adidas stock jumped up 10% in a day. That's $10 billion added to their market value because of one man. As I said, I gave you a grocery list of material items. You know where it's coming from now. Nike still had Ronaldo, another GOAT, but losing Messi meant losing half the football universe. It is estimated Nike lost 5 to 10 billion in long-term value, and there you have it. All right, go ahead, take it from there, Mr. Gringo.
Well, it's hard to believe all that. You know, there were a couple of years ago during the World Cup when Maradona was the head coach. Nobody liked Messi. Everyone in Argentina said that he didn't have the guts He couldn't do it. He couldn't take Argentina anywhere. And I remember at one point he quit. He quit. He quit. And then he came back, and then they won the World Cup. But I noticed that he's one of the few players that doesn't wear pink spikes or cleats. He wears his own. He wears white, and I think he's wearing Adidas. But the other guys are wearing like Nike, and he wears his own color. Whereas you see that, and why do they wear pink? And I wondered that, and it's so that they can notice, differentiate the grass from the ball and the foot. But yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, that's interesting. All right, Eddie.
Well, someone at Nike missed a big shot, but could you imagine if they had both Ronaldo and Messi on the payroll? It happens. It's like when you get when the guy that whole Nike movie about when they landed Jordan. You don't. It's almost like we talked the other night about when you draft somebody. When these guys go in here and get these younger kids, and they're even doing it more. They're trying to assign these kids. You don't know if they're going to take off, and Paul was just saying, even Argentina, the country itself had doubt. If the country from which he hails has some doubt, it's business. It happens. Adidas said, "Okay, we'll take the shot," and now look at it. So,
Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Nike already had picked their guy in Ronaldo and gave him a boatload of money, and I don't think they were going to get in the market for a second guy. I mean, they pretty much, their marketing strategy through the years was to pick that one big guy, whether it was Michael Jordan at first, Tiger Woods, they even went after Gretzky in hockey and this type of stuff. But I think they had already had their football guy, and I don't think it was any slight against Messi other than they just weren't willing to give billions to another guy.
All right.
How do y'all feel about the hydration break?
Yeah, right. That hydration break. I've never heard of anything.
Terrible. I think it's awful.
Gives me a way to hydration break. Really? Seriously, really? All right. Well, who hasn't spoken on this one?
for Dave. Dave's up.
Yeah.
Right, go ahead, Dave.
I don't know that I have anything that you guys have not already spoken about, to be honest with you, other than just like blowing hot air out of myself for the sake of it. So I mean we're pretty much covered it, I would say. Good job, for the guys.
All right. Hey, listen, we have a dream team here tonight. Let me tell you. Okay,
Nike should be paying us to do this.
Cody Speaks on vacation, but we got a dream team. Candy, anything you want to add to this?
Nike's loss was Adidas' win.
Yeah, pretty much it. Okay, well, let's move on here. Mexico, obviously, going into the group of 16 stage, was 4-0 with no goals allowed going into the game against England, but not anymore because England pulled a 3-2 win out of this whole thing. What are your thoughts about the fact that Mexico is out and England was in, but they look good going into that group of 16, Paul?
Well, they blame it on El Chavo del Ocho, El Chapulín Colorado. Since he's El Chavo del Ocho, they can't get past that round of the 8. But Mexico, I don't know what their problem is. Really, I just think that they caught a tough break going against England. They've never been past this round, so I guess until they do that, they're just gonna have to keep on blaming it on El Chavo del Ocho, which is a Chapulín Colorado, their superhero. That's from a meme I saw. But they hate Argentina. I mean, they hate us with a passion, and so we're glad they're out.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, you would think, of course they would. Well, you would think. Well, you thought, thinking about going into it. England going to Azteca, what 90,000 screaming Mexicans going in. It was England against the country of Mexico, and they stood up and they did it. It might be the Three Kings years to win the cup. With the way they've been playing. Kind of with Ronaldo and Messi doing their thing, England's just slowly winning and just kind of going through the bracket. The kind of disappointing part is the three host countries are all out. So it's kind of like, all right, so but it's been a good tournament. We'll see how England does against the Norwegian Viking coming up. And yeah.
I'll tell you what, MDE, you're doing a great job in here when it comes to this. I'm about to get to Holland in a minute, so. But go ahead, Mike. As we speak right now, it's amazing how Mexico had it going, but all of a sudden England TKO'd them.
Well, for me, that was the most interesting game of the tournament that I've watched so far. I was impressed with England, first of all, fighting off all the ghosts of the past, and then fighting off some of the calls and the things they had to overcome in that game, especially playing a man down.
Yeah, right.
As long as they did. So that was the most entertaining and impressive game that I've watched in the tournament. As far as Mexico, I'm going to put them right in a box with Canada and the U.S. They stink.
Okay.
They're not at the level of the European teams or even the South American teams in this tournament. And I'm a novice at watching this stuff, but they're just not at that level. And I don't know. I haven't studied the World Cup enough in the past, but I think it was just awful to see the favoritism that those three countries were given as the hosts, from the brackets they were in to the fact of where they got to play all their games. I mean, the U.S. team basically stayed out in California with a quick trip to Seattle, for a game.
Right.
Mexico never left their country, and Canada, until they got into the knockout phase, didn't have to leave Canada. I thought that was terrible, and I understand why they did it. They were trying to protect the TV audience, especially here in the U.S. and in North America, because let's face it, this country, the United States especially, they wouldn't watch that other than the fact that they thought they were going to win again. I mean, we're all just a bunch of bandwagon winners here with the USA stuff. But I mean, I couldn't wait for that Belgium game, with or without the forward there that got the red card, because I knew they were going to get crushed. So I think that's the worst part about it, and that's what I think about Mexico. I don't think they're that good. I watched them play in a friendly before the tournament against Portugal, who obviously wasn't that good, and they played to a 0-0 tie. So that tells me what I think of Mexico.
Okay, Dave.
Are we talking about what do we think of Mexico? Are we talking something else?
Mexico went into this thing. Hey, listen, 4-0. All of a sudden, they lost 3-2. It looked good until England took care of business.
Okay, the reason why Mexico looked good before they played England, because they played nobody that was any kind of competition for them in the first place. They were lucky that they were playing in Mexico, in their own stadium, sleeping in their own bed, with their own family, with their own comforts in life, in their own environment. I mean, it was just, for England to go there against all of those things, that was the impressive thing to me. I think everybody knows that England was the better team. Anything can happen on the day. That's the beauty of soccer, is that anything can happen on the day. However, what I will say now is we're down to the last 8. On all the teams in the last 8 are all in Europe, UK, or Morocco. Morocco went out today, so the 7 teams that are left right now are all European teams, or it's England in the UK. That's it. So the cream has risen to the top. We can have all the conversations that we want to have about who was this and they were great. It was all good. It's all entertaining. It's all more money in FIFA's pocket. from a football soccer purist point of view, for me, I want to watch the football. Do I want to watch halftime shows? No. Do I want commercial breaks / water breaks or whatever you want to call them? No, I can't stand it. But it is what it is, and that was what it was going to be. But I think now you've got down to what we call the business end, and it's how the creams come. Like I said, the creams come to the top, and now it's probably going to be down. Although I looked at France today against Morocco, I don't see. I really don't see. Again, France has not really played that much. Neither they've not played much kind of opposition. I think the big one will be if France play against Spain in the semi-final and England play against Argentina. Is that going to happen? I don't know. If I knew that, I'd put my house and my wife and kids on it, but I don't, so I don't.
Putting a lot on the line there, man.
There you go.
You're really putting a lot of yeah, just like you're putting a lot on the line there. Mr. Lifestyle, give me a break. All right, Candy.
Dave, I'm going to give you a "Hey Jude" for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you got a lot of guts to do that. I wouldn't do. I need my wife. Then again, she keeps the only reason she keeps in my feet. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these shows. Well, she would. She'd have to do them, or Santos has earned the right to do one of these if he wants to. In case I go down for the count. Go ahead, Candy.
The one reason why United States is hard to compete with the Europes and them is because it's not our number one sport promoted in the United States. So as kids growing up, what do you see on TV? What do you see promoted? What do you see the commercials for? NFL. And I mean, the other sport, the top sports in the United States is not soccer. Whereas you go to these other countries and their top sport is soccer. It's a privilege, and so until that's on a more level playing field in the United States, I think you're going to continue to see dominance not by the United States. Whereas I think the women have a little bit more of an advantage, but men.
Yeah, spot on, Candy.
Yeah, there you go. What do you want? She's our cracks. We had to put her on there. We had no choice to put her on there. Whatever we don't come up with, she fills in the blanks. Well, let's talk about a good deed that Messi did do, because Messi gave a signed jersey to a boy who made his own from a plastic bag. Now, that's what we want to hear from a guy who's got everything in the world, right, Gringo? His own jersey from a guy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of. I wanted to something that Candy had mentioned that it's the U.S. and soccer or football, as you call it. When you roll a kid a ball here in Argentina, the kid will kick it. When you roll a kid a ball in the U.S., the kid will pick it up and throw it.
That's right.
That right there sets the tone for everything.
Yes.
It's in the blood. It's part of the culture. I can't kick a soccer ball. I've been here forever, and I can't kick a soccer ball. I played soccer a couple times. One time I tried to head the ball. I don't know what. I had a headache for like 3 days. So you're just born with that talent, and it's inbred. Just like the flag. I wanted to make it's just a cultural. I'm wearing my Argentine jersey, and you see Argentine flags on the streets. Today is Independence Day here, and you don't see too many flags. But you'll see more flags when the Argentine national team plays than on a national holiday such as this, even on Flag Day. So, and this it goes hand in hand with most of these countries like Paraguay and Chile. I'm surprised Chile is not in the World Cup. These sports are really important, like in Brazil. I'm surprised at how Brazil has fallen from grace after dominating for so many years. But all great empires crumble, as will the Argentine soccer empire crumble at some point when Messi's gone and all these younger generations are older. It all depends, on what they're. But I don't. Yeah, I wanted to just follow up on what Candy said about that soccer never really going to, unless they stop playing everything. If they stop playing baseball, football, tennis, basketball, and everything, and the only thing there is to play is soccer, then they'll get good. And you're only as good as those around you. So if you got more Messi's playing on more teams, maybe, you know, the players will, the quality of the players will get better. But you never know. Time will tell.
Okay, Eddie.
Talking about Messi giving the kid the jersey for making his plastic bag jersey. That's
Yeah,
what we're
that's
doing, right?
amazing.
Yeah, that's that's just a when guys hear about that, and when that's a like we talk about, that's a feel good story. That's good
Yeah.
that these guys, with everything that they have, with it, that that gesture is small, is a small gesture in the whole scheme of the world, but to the young family, to that family, to that child, it is. And the example that it sets is just, it goes, it just it exponentially explodes, and I just think it shows nobody's above doing it. Everybody can do a good deed, even if you're one of the world's greatest soccer football players.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah, I think it's nice. It's a good deed. I would be more impressed if he gave one of his automobiles.
There you go. Oh, like that. That was good.
Fair.
That was so good. Dave, actually, Dave got a kick out of that one too. Go ahead. Yeah, an automobile over in Jersey. Well, if you're going to get the jersey, at least sign the darn thing. But the automobile, I'd rather have the automobile, though.
Oh my God!
Choked up over it, Dave?
There's such a lot to talk about, but I'm impressed with what Candy's been saying, because she's hitting the nail on the head every time. The thing about American soccer right now is they need a hero. The kids in America need a hero, and the hero was supposed to be Pulisic, and he never turned up. He absolutely blew it. They had him on commercials. They were doing all the right thing. He started off great in the first half of the first game, and then he went off injured at halftime, and he never really got back in again. And when he did, he was no good. I just don't think that he had the right frame of mind, the right psychology. Because if you're going to be a hero and you've got to be a great player on the international stage to be a hero, that just talent is never enough. You've got to have the mentality and the psychology that goes with all that as well. And I think right now, and if you're going to grow the game in America, you got to do it at the grassroots. You can't be doing it at the World Cup level. You've got to go to the grassroots. But they need a hero, and there isn't a hero. America needs to find a media company that will throw millions of dollars at soccer. They've only just got their own training, development, academy system set up, so they're light years behind with that one. There needs to be a training system, a national training program. There needs to be consistency. There needs to be a pathway for those kids to go, because at the moment, the kids go to soccer in the grassroots. Why? Because mom said, you're not going to be a football player because you're going to get brain damage. I want you to go and play soccer. It's cheaper to play soccer because you don't need a whole bunch of equipment to do that like you would be in a football game. All you need is a pair of soccer boots, basically, and a club to go to, but you need money for that as well. I don't think anything is going to change until the USA Federation, or whatever they're officially called, gets some financial backing from somewhere, and they're going to go and invest in that. The great news would be if Pochettino is going to stay on as coach, because then there's some consistency, and he wants to build something from the bottom up. But he's not going to stay. Why is he going to stay? It's just we can't be retaining those top people, because they're going to want to go back, and someone's going to tap them up from Europe and pay them more money. That the USA Federation, they quite honestly, they haven't got the money. They can't pay them unless they get an influx of money from somewhere. So we're just going to be spinning wheels going round and round and round. And we need heroes, and the kids don't have them. the kids are at grassroots level, and by the time they get to about 8 or 9 or 10, all of a sudden they start wanting to throw a ball around rather than kick one around, and then you lose them because they want to be NFL players and basketball players.
Okay, Candy.
The young kid was 5 years old. He ended up getting 2 signed jerseys of football, and later in the same year, he actually got his dream came true when he actually got to meet Messi in person. Thought that was cool. Little add to the story.
Absolutely.
Come on, Dave. You know I do believe in feel good stories. I'll tell you what. Only 8 countries have ever won the World Cup. We'll see whether or not there's 9. Let me go over the countries that have done it. Brazil's won it 5 times, 58, 62, 78, 94, and 2002. Germany's won it 4 times, 54, 1954, 74, 90, and 2014. Italy has won it 4 times, 1934, 1938, 1982, 2006. Of course, they're not even in the tournament. Argentina, well, they've won it 3 times, 78, 86, and 2022. And they have a date coming up soon. France still in it, 1998, 2018. Uruguay, 1930 and 1950. And England's won it once in 1966. Spain's won it in 2010. And there you have it. So, okay, will we see a 9th one, Paul?
Well, I just want to say that Argentina got ripped off in 1990. If they had the technology, if they had been using the technology they're using now, that would have never been a penalty. And Argentina would probably have 4 stars right now and Germany 3. So, and I remember because that was my first World Cup experience in 1990. And I couldn't believe what was happening and passion behind that. So I think Argentina, I think they'll make it to the final. I'm hoping, it's great. It's great for the country. It's great for the people. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think Switzerland will not be a tough. I mean, yeah, you never know. They'll probably score a goal, but I don't think they'll be able to stand up against the reigning champs and Messi.
I don't think there's going to be a 9th one. I think, I know I had a couple episodes ago, I had my doubts about Spain, but watching Spain, I'm not sure that I may be changing my ways, and Spain may be ready to add number 2 to the titles 2010 and 2026. I think they just got things clicking right now. So, Dave said it best, though, earlier in the show. It's why we play the game. You never know on the pitch. Switzerland could come in here and dominate Argentina, and we'd all be saying, "What is going on?" It's like the movie, Any Given Sunday. That's why you play them. If we did it all, if we went by paper, we'd all be sitting saying, "Okay, here's our final. It's done. Okay, let's move on with life." But that's why we play. That's why we play all the games. So we'll see how it happens. It's going to be a fun 2 weeks coming up.
Mike?
Well, if we're going to have a new winner, I think it's likely to be Norway. For some reason, they just seem to be on a roll. But I'm pulling for England. And I think that there's some sort of strength in that team right now that they haven't had for a long time. I just watched the way guys like Kane and Bellingham are playing, and they're just playing with a lot of desire and grit. And they don't seem to really care about all those bad things that have happened to England teams in the past. So I like it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my view of England, being English, born and raised, my view of England is, and I'm old enough to say that I can remember watching the 1966 World Cup and remember a lot of it. I was only 8 years of age, but I remember it very well. And if you'd have said to me that England will never win a World Cup again after 1966 in my lifetime, I would have been absolutely shocked at that. But nevertheless, here we are, and that's football for you. And England coming into this definitely had the potential, but potential and 50 cents is not even going to buy you a cup of coffee. Potential is a meaningless conversation. Everybody in this competition had potential, but Mike said it. He just picked on something that I picked up on as well. Something changed in Mexico, and it wasn't, oh, they did this and they scored a goal and they did that. What changed was the psychology of the team and the collectiveness. They learned a lot as both individuals and as a collective. And I think they've realized there's no reason to go into any game now with fear, because historically, that's always let them down right at the very end, semifinals, finals. And this guy was brought in, the coach, German guy. They brought him in. His remit was win the World Cup. But then you reverse and engineer the whole thing. It's like, okay, now what do we need to do today? What do we need to change? Because we were so close. Oh, we should have won it. Oh man, the referee, and Paul just said it as well. Well, in 1990, we had a bad call go against us. Well, that's just the way life is. That's what's going to happen in sport. But we have to be bigger than that. And if you're going to go on and you're going to win a World Cup or any big trophy at any level, you've got to go in 100% believing in yourself and the people around you. You need to be able to look around in the locker room before the game, look to the guy on your left and the guy on your right and go, I trust you and you can trust me. And I don't think England have had that before. I think that's what they got out of the Mexico game. It wasn't the fact that it was 3-2 or they had somebody send. It was none of that. It's whatever happens right now today, guys, we're going to get over that. We're going to find a way. Winners find a way, and England found a way. Probably for the first time.
And that's actually the title of a book. One of my guys, Trent Clark, actually has Winners Find a Way. Great stuff. I'll tell you, got to introduce you to Trent one of these days. He's a pretty good character. All right, Candy, go ahead.
I mean, I would never say never, because obviously there's some teams still in there that, could win it. And, let's face it, all of us are going to agree that the U.S. men's team wasn't a good team, but they had really good nights. So it's about being hot on the right night, on the night you're playing the opposing team. You never say never. So you could see someone new win, and you might not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's continue on. I have a lot more to get to. We're doing really well, though. Okay, how much money teams make at the World Cup? This is interesting. 48 world teams split $871 million from FIFA. Continue on. Every team gets $2.5 million in prep money going into the tournament. Group stage exits worth $10 million guaranteed. Round of 16 is $15 million per team. Quarter finalists, $19 million per team. Fourth place is $27 million. Third place is $29 million. Runners up, $33 million. Love that 33. That's my lucky number, by the way. And the champions get $50 million. And I can tell you right now, that's not a bad. That's pretty good net of return. What do you think, Gringo?
Well, sadly, most of that money will go straight towards corruption here in Argentina because the FIFA president has been indicted. Not the FIFA, the Argentine Football Federation. Chiqui Tapia, he's going to jail. He's going to be going to jail soon. Right now, he's having a good time over there watching the games, but as soon as he gets back, it's all over for him. You want to talk about disgusting rich mansions and cars. They found a garage. He had like 40 cars in there. I'm talking Ferraris. So there's a lot of corruption. So sadly, if Argentina does win, most of that money, if not handled right, will go straight to corruption. Sadly, it won't go to fixing anything or improving. That's it. Sadly, that's the dead truth. So until they got some changes, I don't know if things are going to change now with this current government, but those are my 2 cents.
You know, it's
Okay, go.
it's
Go ahead, Eddie.
you know, it's a good payday for the organizations, for the countries, or what have you. But I think if you were to poll the guys who play in this, it's not about the money. It's about trying to win the cup. You know, it's about trying to go through the process and to get there and to ultimately win it. Because, you know, whatever the money breaks down, wherever, let's say you're in the top four, so your organization gets some money. The guys on those squads, they're getting paid more by their club teams and their endorsements, and this is
Yeah.
just pocket change for them. So this is, it's kind of like I kind of equate it to the USA basketball team or any of the high level Olympic teams. Those guys don't do it for any kind of money. They're doing it for the glory of the country and to win something. You know, it's like Paul said. You know, it's like wearing your country's shirt, uniform, and representing that is more of what these kind of competitions are about than any kind of money that is paid into anybody's pocket. And the unfortunate corruption that it also goes along with the sport of football is kind of
Yeah,
disgusting.
there's a big debate. There's a big debate here. Hot topic is there's an area, a sector of the press that doesn't like this team. They don't like Messi. They don't like the players because they don't represent socialism like the other teams did. You know, when Argentina won the World Cup, this last World Cup, they were invited to the government house, but they didn't go because the current government wanted to say, hey, you know, we did this. This is our, this is our doing. Argentina won because, we did this. This is our team. And when the team didn't go to the Pink House to celebrate with the president, they were like, oh, a large portion of society said, well, this is not the team of El Pueblo. This is not the country's team, El Pueblo. The Pueblo here is like the town, is the people. So that's a big debate. And now the president said, well, they can, if they win, they can go to the Pink House and celebrate, but the president won't be there. He's going to open up the doors and say, you can go there and celebrate in 25 de Mayo in front of the Pink House if we win. So it's really, they make it, this jersey has a lot of politics behind it. I guess, I don't know if it's the same thing with the U.S. Trump hasn't even been to a game, so I don't think there's a lot of politics involved with the U.S. national soccer team. But there is with the jersey.
Okay.
So,
Mike?
my 2 cents.
I agree with Ed. I don't think the players, especially the ones that are remaining in this tournament, most of them, I don't think they're playing for the money. I mean, 50 million to the winners, that's nice, but if you split it among the guys on the team and the coaches and stuff, it's a couple million each. But that's not really what it's about for them. The thing that I think is striking, you can add up all the money you just told us, Scott, and it's nothing compared to what FIFA is going to walk away with.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
Dave?
Yeah, and that's the corruption, the FIFA part. That's the corruption. It always has been, and it still is. I think everybody knows that. But Ed, did we skip you?
No, I was the one. I said it before Paul, and then Paul backfilled off of what I said,
Oh, okay.
and then Mike went, "No, we're good."
Okay.
Nice job, man. Doing good, man.
Yeah, I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. I rudely interrupted myself. Very eloquently.
FIFA money corruption. You were talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gone. It's gone blank.
Sorry, we'll come back to it. Go ahead, Candy.
So FIFA is actually allocating 727 million to all 48 participating nations. So yes, the winner gets 50 million, but each team will walk away with at least 9 to 10.5 million for qualifying and competing. So at least some of the teams that don't have all the same resources are going to get some money too.
Well, let's continue. Did you find your thought back, Dave?
Yeah, there's one player on the England team. His name is Marcus Rashford. He's born and raised in Manchester, played at Manchester United, ended up at Barcelona last season. And Manchester United they came third in the Premier League, which means they're now back in the Champions League. And in the contracts, when you're a professional at big clubs like this, if you're in the Champions League, you get more money. If you drop out of being in the Champions League because you miss and you don't get in the top 4 or top 5 in the league to qualify in that country to be in the Champions League, then that reflects on your income, on your contract. So he was getting paid whatever he was getting paid at Manchester United. When they dropped out of the Champions League, that money went down. But then he was at Barcelona. But he's still a Manchester United contracted player. They loaned him out to Barcelona. So they were paying his wages. So Man United now are back in the Champions League. Guess what happened to him? Now he got a pay raise because the club that he's got a contract with is now back in the Champions League. And now he's making more money than he was last year, even though he wasn't even at the club. That money is £350,000 a week.
Wow.
So if we think that those players at the World Cup are worried about the extra money they're going to get, as Mike said, it's peanuts. It's absolute peanut. And from a player point of view, they want the trophy. They want to say, I'm a World Cup winner at any cost.
Scott, can I just really add one last thing? It points to what Mike was saying. FIFA is going to generate around $9 billion with this World Cup. 3.9 from broadcasting rights, $3 billion from ticketing, and 2.8 from marketing and corporate sponsorships.
And they're not going to give not even 10% of it's going to go to the players.
Yeah. Amazing. These numbers are fascinating. These numbers fascinate me. I'm going to give you some other numbers that fascinate me even a little bit more, because before the tournament started, can you believe this? And I'm looking at it with all these filled stadiums now, but FIFA was actually at one point stuck with 180,000 empty seats. Obviously, the reasons for that were the soaring ticket prices as well. So, I mean, it's still hard to believe that they're at one point. I'll make this rapid fire, okay, because I have a lot more to get to. Going to you, Paul, can you believe that at one point 180,000 unsold seats, Paul?
It's pretty big stadiums, and ticket prices are expensive. I heard in Atlanta a ticket to watch Argentina was $8,000. So, and I'm sure they started high, but I noticed that a lot of those stadiums were full. So they did really well to turn that around. So
yeah, they did. And that's the reason why I brought this up.
Yeah, and also, I mean, that it was something that's not legal in other countries was that you can resell. You got scalpers out there selling tickets.
Yeah.
That was pretty. That I don't know, has an effect. I mean, it's important. Ticket resale and scalpers. So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, Eddie.
Actually, if you look at it, if you look at all the stadiums that were in play, 186,000 unsold tickets is really probably not that many. If you really divide it amongst all the places that were there, and then if you look at it from that perspective, and you think about, to Paul's point, to the points we've made in previous episodes, the money that these tickets were costing, it's really kind of mind-boggling that. It's surprising. I shouldn't say mind-boggling. It's surprising that there weren't more tickets that were not unsold. And my question is, where are the people getting the money to buy these tickets? Because my disposable income, I was not affording, to Paul's point, an $8,000 seat to go watch Argentina play.
No.
Whether it's on the first market or secondary market, I just, I'm not going to spend that, first of all, but I don't even have that money to spend.
Right.
Unless I'm selling my whole, like Dave, betting his whole family. unless I'm selling my whole family into whatever it is to get the tickets. Anyway, but so yeah, so honestly, I thought like I said, the fact it's only 186 spread across the stadiums, that's not really that many missing seats.
Okay, Mike.
I just think I don't have any facts, but when I watch these matches, when I've watched all the coverage for the last 3 weeks plus, that we have the European and South American fans to thank for any seats that were sold. Because anytime I watched a U.S. game, you had the bandwagon U.S., when we're winning, everybody wants to show up, and especially the celebrities want to be there. But every time I watched a match, like this afternoon in Boston, it was just loaded with people from France and Morocco. I mean, I look at the number of people from Norway that have traveled the whole continent, right? Even the Scots came here for a brief period of time and went crazy in Boston and Miami and made an impression. So, I mean, without them, you'd have a lot of empty seats over here.
Dave.
There's a mass. It used to be the working person's game, and maybe it still is in some countries, but now it's not the working man's game anymore. It's corporate. Where are people finding the money from, Ed? I have absolutely no idea. It's an absolute mind blower to me. Either they've been saving up for 4 or 8 years, or maybe they tried to win a lottery or something. I don't really know. But just want to get this one off my chest when it comes to the money that was going out, and how much money would the players get now that their teams have gone through to the later rounds. You've got one guy who used to play for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. While the World Cup's been going on, he's just been sold to Manchester City, I think for 115 or 20 million. Is the most expensive player in the world. He will get a very large signing on fee from that. Do you think he's worried about a couple of million that he may not be getting playing for England to go as far as they can? No, the players are there because they dreamed about winning the trophy one day, maybe winning the World Cup in their wildest imagination. So, no, these people are making so much money. Like Ed said, they're making way more money in their club teams. So anyway, it's all interesting conversation. There's a few anomalies in there. I don't know what's going on with the tickets and the money people are paying. There's something we don't know about there.
No, there isn't. But anytime I get something like that, it's just I still have to bring it up to you guys because I'm looking at all these amazingly filled seats, but 180,000 going in because we all along before, as we led into this, we were talking about the inflated ticket prices, and all of a sudden you get stats like that that are simply going to blow you away. Let's continue on. Let's go back to when this actual tournament started, because when we talked about the United States when they played at SoFi Stadium, they're talking about a stadium that's $5.5 billion, the most expensive stadium in the world. Well, you all know how that worked out, right? The United States beat Paraguay 4-1, and that game wasn't even sold out. So let's go to Gringo first, okay? Can you believe that the United States came away with a convincing win and the game wasn't even sold out at arguably one of the, I've never been there, but that's a bucket list item for me to want to go to.
It's surprising because Paraguay, they're very competitive. They went there with a very good team. I think they finished second in the qualifying round here, right under Argentina. And they were a tough team. And when that first own goal, when quickly it was 1-0 the U.S., there was a lot of doubt. You're saying, whoa, what's happening here? So right from the get-go, the World Cup was a surprise. For the U.S. to defeat Paraguay was a shocker. and especially at that level, so you're like, what's going on here? You know, an own goal, and then I don't know. So there's a lot of skepticism after that game here locally. You know, the Paraguayans are like, they take their football, their soccer, with pride, and most of the bricklayers and everything else, they're all Paraguayan. We have a large Paraguayan community here. But so yeah, it was surprising.
They may be into their soccer, but they're no good, Paul.
Yeah, they were good. They almost tore Mbappe up, man.
Nah, they're no good. That's why they're not here now. That's why they're gone.
They were saying, that their coach gave a very controversial talk, saying, that a lot of the parents take their kids, miles in the mud so they can go to soccer practice, and they don't have any footwear, and there's mosquitoes, and they get sick on the way, but they did pretty. They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
That's where FIFA should be putting the money.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's why their coach said they'll never ever be able to compete with their
No, they won't. You're right. They won't.
The first world nations, because they're a third world country,
Right.
With third world training facilities and equipment and nutrition and everything else. Messi is what he is because he was trained in Barcelona. He received excellent excellent training. I mean, he wasn't Maradona, starving in the Villa in the ghetto. If you compare both players, the way they were, Maradona is a legend in his own right.
What you just said there, Paul, was exactly right, and that's where America has not got it right. There's no pathway for kids for it to be a big deal here for them to want to go on and be a soccer player. They all end up leaving. They want to go to the NFL or basketball players, and they're probably not going to be basketball. Look, if you're not 6'5" to 7 foot, you're not going to be a basketball player. So you might as well try and be a soccer player. I mean, that's just this is the bare bones of the facts of the conversation. It's just, you're right, Paul. You're right.
But getting back to Scott's comment about SoFi Stadium and the U.S. Paraguay game not being sold out, all I'm going to say, and I'll let Mike take it from here, is it illustrates my point from that last segment very clearly, is the fact that nobody should. I mean, if we were passionate like the Argentinians, the Paraguayans, the English, the Scottish, and I could read off all the 48 countries that were represented, that place would have been jam packed, and it's not. It's not. Growing up in the 80s, we were playing soccer and we were taught this was the generation that was going to take it to that next level and make it something. Here we are, still having the conversation.
The difference, Ed, is that all those people that have come over are all soccer fanatic, do or die, mad supporters of the game. Americans, it's more of an entertainment.
Yes,
that's really what it is. There's families go, and you've got they I noticed over here that you've got the fans of two teams, and they're all sitting next to each other. That's not gonna happen in Europe and the UK. They're gonna kill each other. But in America, it's a little bit different. Why? If I remember rightly, we're talking about, Paul. I think the Paraguay game, that was the first game that America had in the World Cup. At that point, there was no buy-in from the American public. They were like, well, let's see what happens here. They're living in hope. And then they won that game like, whoa, wait a minute. Well, the reason why they won that game is they came out with the right attitude. And the second one is because Paraguay were crap anyway. That's why they're not here anymore. And we know, I'm not being disrespectful when I say that, but Paul hit the nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
How can they be competitive? They got no facilities. It's terrible. It's sacrilege. Horrible.
Most of the Paraguayan players and most of the Colombian players and most of them, they play in the local tournaments. They're not playing in Europe.
Yeah,
they're not playing on British clubs, Spanish clubs, German clubs. They're playing in Boca, in River, in Chaco,
Right. So,
You know, and like places like in Bolivia.
all those teams that you're talking about, other than Argentina right now, that are left in the last 8, are all European teams. And all the
Yeah.
Argentinian teams, all the Argentinian players, for Argentina to be where they are right now, they're South American, but none of them play in South America. Most of them all playing in European teams. So there it is. There's a visual that's out there right now where there's a map where all the teams are, and all the teams that are in the last 8 right now are pretty much all from Europe, and they're all next to each other.
Okay. All right. Who spoke up? Mike, have you spoken on this?
Mike's up on this one.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
So the reason why that match against Paraguay and others are not sold out is because, first of all, Americans are front runners, and the team is not very good. And to Dave's point, they won the first game, and so people started to say, oh, maybe we can put on our red, white, and blue outfits and go USA, USA, and see what happens, and have a party and the whole bit. The reason why the team's not very good is because of what Dave said. For the last 30 years, like when Ed said in the 90s, we thought we were going to have a soccer boom when we hosted the World Cup back then. But what have we done with men's soccer in this country for 30 years? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't even
Exactly.
we still don't even have a development system. We just finally got a training site.
Right.
So we've done nothing to develop the sport. And this, what I would consider the serious or knowledgeable soccer fans in this country, they don't even follow the league or the leagues in our country. They follow the Premier League on Sunday mornings at some pub or other leagues. Like they're not even following the players or the people in this country.
No.
You know, that's the next thing. And my last comment on that is, if this had been the traditional World Cup, and instead of having 48 teams, we had 32, the US, Mexico, and Canada would have not even sniffed this getting out of their groups.
Right.
And that was another reason why this was done, because they were coming here, especially for the US. We didn't qualify for the last World Cup, and weren't very impressive in their games leading up to the World Cup this year. I mean, I watched a couple of them. They were embarrassing. And that one in Nashville where they lost like 5-0. But yeah, they added a bunch of teams, put them in some easy groups because they knew they had to get them through this quote unquote knockout round, which wasn't really even a knockout round. It was just getting down to the 32 teams that should have qualified. That's all it was. So that's what I think.
Okay, well, let's continue on here, because I'll tell you what, 3 hosts got knocked out this week. So let me go over the nations who won the FIFA World Cup as tournament hosts as follows. Uruguay won it in 1930, Italy in 1934, England in 1966, West Germany in 1974, Argentina did it in 1978, France in 1998. So which one of these stands out to you, Paul?
The 78, that was a turning point. I mean, the country was, I don't know how familiar you are with Argentine history. We were there, the country was under dictatorship rule. So and it was held in Argentina, that 78 World Cup. And it was do or die for the national team. So winning that game is just amazing. It was just under, the history behind the country and that particular World Cup stands out by far. And Uruguay is the first one, so it's it's an experiment. You don't know what's happening really. I think they won. Yeah, they won the first one. Yeah,
They did, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if they won the second one, but no, I don't think they did. I think they only won the first one.
Okay, Mike?
I mean, I don't think playing on home soil means as much as it did 75 years ago with the way
Nope.
travel are is and accommodations and the money some of these really good programs have. So I'm not really all that surprised that the last team, I think, that won it on home soil was almost 30 years ago, right? France.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it has much to do anymore. I mean, like all sports, I go to hockey in this country. Like, I mean, I managed NHL teams. My guys are not intimidated to play in anybody else's arena. I would say I put blindfolds on them and drop them on the ice, and before the other team came out, they wouldn't know what city they were in. It just doesn't. I mean, they're just when they get on the pitch, their focus is what's going on in the pinch, and all the crazy stuff that impresses us and the fun stuff that's going on in the stadium that doesn't really affect the way they play anymore.
No.
Dave?
I would like to know this, and I don't. The players that make up these countries, that play for these countries, these 48 teams in the World Cup, I bet a lot of them play around Europe and the UK. They're not even playing in their own country.
Really?
How many players would be playing? Paul, would you know how many Argentinian players actually play in Argentina for an Argentina club?
One or
Okay.
two.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one or two. Yeah.
And most young players. Yeah, go.
I heard
Go.
today. I heard today that on the French national team, only two of the players are actually French.
Okay, so this is my point. My point is,
Yeah, and on Morocco, I think only one of them was from Morocco.
well, yeah, because Morocco and France are so close that their parents are they can go and play for whoever they want to play for. But yeah, when I was watching the World Cup in 1966, we didn't even know who the players were when they came over. I didn't even know who Pele was until 1966 when he was playing in the World Cup in the UK. So, but then it started to change. Now the World Cup comes up, we know all the players because everybody plays all over the world, and the top players,
That's true.
they get taken up by all the teams that have got the money. They go where the money is. Because as Paul said, they don't have the money. These people don't have the money. You've got 17 and 8-year-olds going to UK teams at 17 and 18 years of age, and they're getting a few $100,000 put in their pocket. South American young players are all getting tapped up now to go off and play in the academies and getting paid a fortune. They will never make that money in those countries.
I know a kid, he plays for River. He's 17, and he got an offer from a small English club in some part of northern England, and he's going to go there to play.
Yeah,
and,
there you go.
He's going to go play there because they're going to pay him. They're going to pay him. They're going to treat him right.
Yeah.
And what's he going to do here? Kid's 17 years old. He plays for River now, but he's already sold.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring Ed back into this. Ed, obviously there haven't been many teams that have won as the host nation. Any quick thoughts on this?
Kind of surprising. Not surprising that Canada, U.S., or Mexico wouldn't be the first one to win that. Just
right.
But it's just that's. But really, it's not. It's surprising, yet at the same time, I can see it's not surprising.
Okay, Candy.
Well, I think, and to Mike's point about home field advantage, I don't think, Mike, you were talking about you watched the game earlier today, and it wasn't a lot of U.S. that were watching the game. It was people that were from France. I think travel has gotten a lot easier and cheaper for people amongst the years. That home field advantage back in the day was more home field advantage because most people weren't traveling overseas to watch these games, see these players that were, part of that they didn't know about and stuff like that. So that would be my 2 cents.
Okay, let's continue on here. We're going to talk about the United States World Cup finishes in 2002. Back in 2002, they lost in the quarterfinals to Germany 1-0. In the group stage, they finished fourth in the group stage. In 2010, they finished in the round of 16. They lost 2-1 to Ghana in extra time. In 2014, in the round of 16, lost 2-1 to Belgium in extra time. Did not qualify in 2018. And obviously, in the round of 16, they lost 3-1 to the Netherlands. This year, obviously, they ended up losing to Belgium in the round of 16. Paul, where do you think this program is at this particular point? Obviously, we've only gotten as far as the round of 16, and that's it.
One thing, like I mentioned before, I don't think it's going anywhere until like I said, you're only as good as those around you until they start getting quality players playing on these local, U.S. teams and the local tournaments, and you get experienced coaches, and you develop the strategy and the skills, which you learn the skills at a very early age. And that's when you learn how to throw a baseball when you're young. You don't learn how to throw a baseball when you're 12. And it's the same thing,
true.
It's the same thing with, kicking and these guys, they handle that ball, with their feet as if their feet were their hands. You saw Messi and the way he stopped that ball in midair, brought it down and just kicked it with his pinky toe right into the corner of the net. That's pure skill that you develop from a very early age. And so they're going to have to start at the age of 2, 3, kicking a ball. As soon as they can walk, kick the ball and flip it up in the air and then head it. Until that happens, they're not going to go anywhere.
All right, only a few more topics to go. Go ahead, Eddie.
Round us, as much as we'd like to say we're going to be something great with regards to soccer, it's not. Football, it's not our sport. And I don't. Growing up in the late 70s, 80s, it's just not. We're round of 6. We're going to be round of 16 at best. Maybe we'll get into the Elite 8 if we get lucky one time. Lightning. Maybe lightning strikes some year, some way. I don't know, but I think we have to accept that it's not our sport. And we've been trying, we've been trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with regards to football for 50 years now. It's time to say, okay, we are what we are. If we get to the round of 16, that's a win. If we get to the round of 8, that's a double win. And then anything else, that's house money.
There you go. Great idea. All right, Mike.
Where has U.S. soccer gone? It's gone backwards. It's gone backwards. This year's team, it was a 48-team tournament. They got to the 32. I mean, which was what the tournament consisted of before this year. They were given every advantage possible. What were the teams in the U.S. bracket? No European teams. No European teams, were there, Dave?
No.
I don't think there were.
Yeah, I mean,
Iraq.
It's gone backwards, and it's an easy
Paraguay, Iraq, and Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey.
Turkey.
Yeah, right.
And they lost to Turkey, by the way.
Yeah, they lost to Turkey.
So, it's gone backwards, and to continually hear people, in my opinion, make the excuse of it's not our sport. We have baseball and football and basketball. Well, we're supposed to be one of the largest and most powerful and richest countries in the world, yet we're the only country in the world that says football is not our sport. It's not our sport. You know why? Because we lose, and people in this country don't like to lose. And instead of picking themselves up the bootstraps and doing the things Dave said we need to do to get soccer better in this country, we just be like, it's just not our sport. Well, how about throwing some money into it? Hockey wasn't our sport either till the 1980s year of ice, right? That wasn't
exactly.
Yeah. Now everybody from Arizona to Florida goes around with USA when we win the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
I just think I think it's a cop out. It's not our sport. I mean, we're losing to countries. Yeah, it might be their sport, but we're losing to countries like Belgium that have 3 million people, and we have 300 million people. So I don't care how many people are playing baseball and basketball and everything else. I think we could find a few good soccer players out of those 300 million. We certainly do it with the women's team. We don't have these discussions about the U.S. women's team. They do just fine, right? And everybody's USA, and that's great. It seems to be our sport for women, but for men, it's not our sport. Well, we have baseball and we have basketball, and what do we do in those sports, by the way, too? Well, we got our ass kicked in basketball when we used to be extra players like everybody else. So the next year we said, well, then we're going to send our NBA players then. We'll show you that. And we started sending the dream team. And we do the same thing in hockey now, right? We couldn't win. We couldn't win in international hockey. We couldn't win the world championship. We couldn't win in the Olympics. We couldn't even qualify for medals. Well, then we started to say, well, then we're going to send our NHL players and set it up so we can be in the gold medal game every 4 years. That's what pisses me off about soccer in this country. And I don't want to hear it's not our sport. And, everybody plays baseball in this country. No, we got plenty of money. We have plenty of people. We just don't like the fact that we're losers right now. And we won't want to do the hard work it's going to take to develop the sport and the money we're going to need to develop the sport so that we can be winners. And that's my
Dave?
long-winded answer.
No, that doesn't matter. Mike, first of all, you nailed it on many points. I'm tired of hearing it's not our sport. We have as much, if not more money than in the world than anybody else. And hockey's living proof of that. We just came off a gold medal in the United States, and you have hockey teams in places nobody ever imagined when we were dealing with it in the original 6 top and 12 era. And all of a sudden you got them in places that not imaginable. Dave?
Yeah, the reason why the women were so successful is because they got more support, because there was no competition for the women, because the girls that start playing soccer at grassroots level, they don't get to 9, 10, 11 years of age and go, I want to be a football player, a basketball player now, because it's just not there. That pathway is not there. Those sports are not developed for women. So it's easy for the females to stay where they are and become professional soccer players. And then they started doing really well and started winning World Cups. So basically what they had then was they had their own heroes. Carly Lloyd was a pundit on Fox TV for some of the men's soccer games. Yeah. And in the background, she's got all these people chanting her name. Carly. Where are all the soccer fans chanting the American guys' names? There aren't any. And the other problem that you've got, just to kind of round it off a little bit, because sometimes in America, they're their own worst enemy. And when you're in, one thing I've learned about traveling around the world or living in different countries around the world, and I don't mean buy the shirt, buy the t-shirt, buy the hat, buy the towel or whatever I'm talking about. Living somewhere for 4, 5, 6 months, 12 months, 22 years in one case in New Zealand, is when you leave your own country, you go, wait a minute, and you guys have traveled, I know, you go, wow, there's different ways of thinking out there. It's not because when you're born and raised in America or England like I was, you only know what you know, and you don't know that in any other parts of the world they do things differently. And the one thing I always found interesting, I could never work it out, and I'm still not too sure about it. Why do American sports only play in American at the end of the tournament, being NFL or whatever, and they go, and here's the world champions. Right. World champions of what?
Right, exactly.
America? Now, that might seem like a nothing thing, but that's what's in their head. We are the world champions. No, you're not. You're the champions of America. And and to be a world champion, now they're starting to realize how hard it is to be a world champion because we can't get past the last 16.
All right, just incidentally, Paul Perry has to get going right now. So, Paul, let everybody know they get a hold of you, and we'll bring out another time, and then we'll continue to. We only have a couple more topics to wrap up the show. Go ahead, Paul, really quickly.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to share. I mean, spend this time with all you, talking these topics. And you can get in touch with me on Instagram, Gringos in Buenos Aires, as I do a podcast and where I interview expats and immigrants living here in Buenos Aires and Argentina. So I'm on Instagram and I'm on Paul Perry Buenos Aires on YouTube. And
All right,
let's
well,
keep in
Paul,
touch.
thank you very much for
Excellent.
joining us.
Thanks, Paul.
We'll try to invite you back on before the end of the tournament. Thanks for being on.
Vamos Argentina, carajo.
There you go. All right, Paul, the Argentine Gringo from Buenos Aires. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, Katie,
Have a good one.
only have a couple more topics to get to. Katie, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say we don't recognize any great soccer greats here in America. Like who is on that list? Who's the most famous U.S. soccer player on the men's side? And we haven't had the success. And I think because we haven't, people look at other sports. I think the talent goes to some of the other sports.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it's been. I don't know that that's going to change.
No.
I just don't buy that. Like, we have 350 million people in this country, and we can't find 16 soccer players out of 350 million. I don't care how many sports kids want to play, and they want to play lacrosse and they rather play baseball. We can find 16 soccer players if we have the right system in place, we have the right development in place, and we spend some money and some resources on becoming good at the sport, and we don't do it. We take the easy excuse way out. Well, we have other sports the kids are more interested in. We have this and we have that. That's I don't know. This topic just gets me going, because I just hear these excuses all the time. Well, the kids would rather play hockey, or kids would rather play this or rather that. Yeah, well, we're only looking for 16 guys, right? That's all we need. And we have all the money and resources to find 16 out of 350 million people in this country, because there's other countries that maybe they don't have all the other sports, but they only have 2 or 3 million people, and they're kicking our ass.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I'll tell you what, rapid fire, the last 2 or 3 topics. Fire up is coming up as soon as we're done. FIFA reportedly advises 2026 World Cup players to consider bulletproof vest. Ed,
That's insane.
isn't it?
It's insane. But bulletproof vest when? During the games, after the cup is done? Them just making that comment is insane.
Yeah,
We'll just put it like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I saw it, I thought it was insane. I realized obviously security at times could be risky, but to go to the bulletproof vest takes it to a new level. Candy?
Yeah, I can't imagine because you're screened to get into any of these big events. So just sad that it's come to that.
Mike?
I think it just shows you the gun problem that's unique to this country. I mean, we're far and away the worst country in the world when it comes to gun violence. So
Yes, it is.
there you go.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I've grown up in countries where we didn't even know what a gun was. It was on a movie. The only time I got exposed to people having guns is when I came over here 18 years ago. I don't have one. No, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about that. It's all a bit different to me.
Yeah, I was a little lost for words myself, and it takes a lot for me to get there. 2 other notes I want to mention. Erling, actually, Haaland just won their first ever World Cup knockout game. That was pretty impressive, Ed, wasn't it, by Erling here? We're going to have more about him in the future shows, but what he did, obviously, to win their first knockout game was pretty good work.
He is a beast on the pitch, and I think England's going to have their hands full against him. He's scored goals using guys' faces. So yeah, it's Norway's. I think Mike said it earlier. Norway is and Candy has said it earlier. They're doing the right things. They're clicking at the right time. They're gelling as a team. They've got that synergy you need to come together, because right now you just have to win one game, then you win one more, then you win one more, and you're champion.
Right. There you go.
So just be fun to watch.
Candy.
Yeah, who would have guessed? That's one of those countries that has not won it yet. So it'll be interesting to see. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yes.
They're on house money, as everybody would say, right, Mike?
Yep. Right on house money.
Mike Santos, what are your thoughts about Mr. Haaland?
I think Erling Haaland has made himself the most interesting player in the tournament.
Yeah.
He's played well, obviously, but he's got that unique look to him. He's a big guy. He's got personality. So, in addition to how well Norway's done so far and how well he's done for them, I think his persona has just grown like crazy being over here for this tournament, and he's got a lot of opportunities coming his way, even outside of football, after this tournament.
Dave.
5 weeks ago, if you would have told me that England are going to play Norway in the quarterfinal, I'd have bit your hand off. I would have paid for your next vacation, because there's no way I thought that England would not beat Norway 5 weeks ago. Like, give me Norway. If you said it, we'll give you Norway in the quarterfinals, I'm like, I'll take that, and we will win. I still think that we will win. For the simple reasons, not that much has changed in the Norway team in 5 weeks, other than the fact that all of a sudden he's become a household name because of the World Cup.
Right.
Is he good? Yeah, he's good. Is he awkward? Yes, he is. He's going to be playing against people who play for his club team in Manchester. So he's going to be playing against his own mates. It's very different when you're a professional athlete playing against people who are your best friends that you've played with every day in training for your club. The way to stop Haaland is you don't stop him. You cut off the supply.
Mm-hmm.
That's what England will do. The crosses, they'll cut the supply off, and they'll get to the back four of Norway, and that's how they will win it. But again, we don't know.
Okay. All right. Final topic of the night. And great job, MDE, in the chat room. You're unbelievable. Almost feel like we have a sixth host on here as well. Most watched soccer telecast in U.S. history is 30 million viewers. Say about what do you want about the team. You can't knock the fans are out. Can't knock this for being a 30 million viewer thing. I think it's pretty good stuff, don't you think? Ed?
Yeah. Was that the Belgian game that just happened? 30 million viewers.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what Mike has been talking about over the past couple segments. It was, everybody was pushing it. It was kind of like the hype was all around it. It was coming. It was to get to that next level for the first time, and then so. I guess I would be more surprised, Scott, if you would have said that it was not a high viewership, because everybody kind of usually tunes in. Even the non-fan is going to tune in for the, as Dave said it earlier, the entertainment value of it all. To say I was part of it. So good for them. They got embarrassed. We wait another 4 years.
There you go, Candy.
U.S. tuned in because it was too expensive, or they couldn't get to the game, and it was in the U.S. And I think that's why you saw the popularity and the support. I think had this World Cup been in a different country, I think you'd have a different number in that spot.
Yeah.
No question about it. All
Good
right,
point.
Mike.
Yep.
I think the U.S. tuned in because it was obviously an elimination round game. But remember, U.S. was not going to win that game no matter who they played.
Right.
But what they did the 48 hours before, with the president contacting FIFA and
Yeah.
having the red card suspended for a year, not taken away. He's going to be suspended a year from now. Like, it was just all storytelling, and it was all to just promote this big game, which the U.S. was going to get their butts kicked regardless by Belgium. It was just a better team, and they knew it. But that was part of the promotion, and I think a lot of people tuned in because they found out about all the stuff that happened in those 48 hours.
I'll leave it to President Donald Trump to get headlines wherever he can get them. And he definitely found a way to get them here in the FIFA World Cup as well. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, and I see this as someone who lives in America with an American family. My wife, my kids, they're American, but I'm not. And I'm older, and I've been around a lot more around the world. I've seen more, I've got more experience, and I come here. Everything's built on hype, overhype. And if it's not overhype, it's boring. And I've had so many people since I've come here tell me, even people close to me, you know, in my where I am, they go, soccer's boring, and I go, okay. So a soccer game is 90 minutes, 2 halves of 45, with a bit of added time at the end for injury time or added on time. The amount of playing time where people are running around actually doing something where the game's in motion is a minimum of 70 minutes out of those 90, which we think is disgusting, by the way, in the soccer world. But there again, you can have a minimum of 3-hour broadcast of an NFL game and only get 7 minutes out of 3 hours. And you're trying to tell me soccer is boring. There's a disconnect there. There's an ignorance. There's an ignorance there, unfortunately, and until that changes, it's not going to work.
Well, for me, the disconnect is hydration breaks, people. Hydration breaks. I've never heard of them before this. Do they have them?
That's ridiculous. No, of course they don't. It's an American
Exactly.
thing.
That's my point.
Well, they have them in hockey. They just call them TV timeouts, which is what they should have.
Yeah, but that's we're talking hydration break. Yeah, TV time. I'm with you.
But
hydration breaks.
So let me tell you. Let me tell you when it goes. Oh, sorry. Go, Mike. Go, Mike.
No, I was just going to say they're not really hydration breaks. That's what they're calling them, but they're TV timeouts, and that's what
I know what they are. I'm just satirizing the sport for calling them hydration breaks. Listen. I'll defer the whole show, so all you guys can say. All I say is hydration breaks to me are unbelievable. No, I'm with you. I know they're TV timeouts. That's just a fancy way of saying it.
Do you know what happens in the rest of the world when they go to a hydration break? They do not cut to a commercial because there aren't any commercials to run.
Right.
They go back to the pundits in the studio and they actually talk about the game. Would you believe? There's a shocker for you.
There you go. That's a shocker here. We're talking soccer, everybody. World Cup Sports Wrap. Scott Morgan off Motor City Manmouth. We are glad to have the Argentine Gringo here with us. We have Ed McAndrew. We have Candy Ebling's going to give us a preview really quickly on Fire Up. Mike Santos is back. Hopefully we'll have a Fire Up anyways. I think we should. But we'll see. Time will tell. And Dave Bradley, no show next week. We'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina for the ACC action. But go ahead, Ed, let everybody know how they get a hold of you real quickly.
Get me on these channels, and you can get me on Facebook and LinkedIn at Ed McAndrew and Instagram Sub68.
Okay, Mike, please let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
msantos at hockeyoperations.org. I just want to say shout out to Sylvester Stallone, who turned 80 years old this week.
There you go.
Wow.
Okay, Sylvester Stallone, 80. Okay. And please send my best to Chuck Wepner while you're at it, because I had the opportunity to interview him many years ago down here. But Sylvester Stallone and you are pretty good friends. Why don't you see if you get him on one of these shows?
I'm not a pretty good friend with him, but I just think it's fabulous. 30 years old. And on the 50th anniversary year of Rocky.
There you go. Oh, I love that movie.
All
right. All right, Dave, let everybody know how they get a hold of you. Then Candy takes us home.
Dave Bradley Lifestyle on Instagram, Dave Bradley on LinkedIn, Dave Bradley on Facebook, and I'm 68 and I'm 12 years younger than Sylvester Stallone.
There you go. All right, Candy, take us the rest of the way.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons to the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. The audiobook is also out there. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. I don't know what you're waiting for. Just click it, like it, share us with all your friends and family, and then turn on your notifications. And then hop on over to Destination Discoveries Media Network, our travel network. QR code right now is Destination Discoveries Media Network. Please subscribe to that. If you like travel, you are going to like this YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Fire Up is coming next. We're going to talk a little more World Cup, and then we're going to talk about the greatest NFL tight ends. That's coming up.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of Sports Wrap. You'll see us 2 weeks from tonight. We'll talk more soccer. We're going to continue our soccer coverage for a couple more weeks or so, 2-3 weeks at least. And and then we'll go from there. So meanwhile, on behalf of Ed McAndrew, the Argentine Gringo, Paul Perry, Candy Epling, Mike Santos, and Dave Bradley, my name is Scott Morganroth. Thank you for joining us, and MDE and Eddie Prather were stars in the chat room. Good night, everybody. Enjoy the Fire Up coming up next, and enjoy the rest of the World Cup. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye now.